I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Brianna Jones.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew and Brie to like musical theater. And you guys, we have a super special guest.
Ooh, a super special guest. That's like one more super than we usually have.
You know what? I'll call it a super duper special guest, in fact. Like, that's how super we're getting.
Wow.
Wow.
Please join us in welcoming the host of the Dildorks podcast and the Question Box podcast, sex writer whose new book, 101 Kinky Things Even You Can Do, is sold wherever you can buy books. It's Kate Sloan!
Hello. Thank you for having me. So happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you. But there is a small issue. Kate, I don't know if you know this. We recently put on a show and it was a huge flop. But you told us off mic that there's an accounting way that we can make more money with a flop than we can with a hit. Isn't this true?
Yeah, you just have to have two different sets of books. One of them says show to the IRS. The other one says never show to the IRS.
This is really good because I've always wanted to be an accountant.
And one of us has to have sex with a bunch of old women. I don't know which one of us it's going to be, Andrew, so...
I know which one of us it's going to be.
Are we going to draw straws?
No, you've already drawn the straw.
Ah, dang it. Oh, well, I guess I gotta go to little old ladyland. In case you couldn't tell by our little bit at the front here, this week we are talking about The Producers. Cue the music, Brie.
We can do it. We can do it. We can make our dreams come true. Everything you've ever wanted is just waiting to be had. Beautiful girls wearing nothing but pearls, caressing you, undressing you, and driving you mad. We can do it. We can do it. This is not the time to shirk. We can do it. You won't rue it. Say goodbye to petty clerk. Hi, producer. Yes, producer. I mean you, sir. Go berserk. We can do it. We can do it. And I know it's gonna work. What do you say, Bloom?
The Producers is a musical with a book by Mel Brooks and Thomas Meehan, and music and lyrics by Mel Brooks, technically, but I'll get into that a little later. It is based on Mel Brooks' same film of the... it is based on The Producers, a film by the same name written by Mel Brooks. It premiered on Broadway at the St. James Theater on April 19, 2001, and ran for 2,502 performances, closing on April 22, 2007. The plot is simple. A down-on-his-luck Broadway producer and his mild-mannered accountant come up with a scheme to produce the most notorious flop in history, thereby bilking their backers, all the little old ladies, out of millions of dollars. But things go awry. The show is a smash hit and ruins everything. What are they gonna do? All right, so, Kate, every time I've talked to you, somehow The Producers has come up. I know this is like one of your favorite musicals.
It is, yeah. I have so much personal history with this show. Should I get into it? Is it time?
Feel free. Yeah, that was the time.
Go
Talk
for
about it.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So I first saw this show in 2001 when I was 9. My mom used to be an entertainment reporter at a TV station, so she would cover like movies and theater and TV and stuff. And she at one point quit and she got laid off, and she took her severance package and spent it on taking me to New York. And we saw The Producers on Broadway, and I like completely fell in love with it and got obsessed, which is like kind of a weird thing for a 9-year-old girl to get obsessed with. And then I really wanted to be a musical theater performer like immediately after that, which lasted a few years. And then the other major thing that happened to me with this musical is that a few years later, my mom got the original cast recording CD of it stuck in her car's CD player like for over a year. And so every time we would drive anywhere, we'd be listening to this musical, and we would joke all the time, like, it could have been a lot worse. Like, we really like this show. So we did not mind.
That story just brought so much joy to my heart. I'm just imagining you guys getting into the car, the CD's on the last track, and you're just like start the car, and it's Nathan Lane like, just like Cain and Abel, you pulled a sneak attack. And it's like, oh, it's 6 in the fucking morning, Nathan Lane. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And then also when I did magic mushrooms for the first time with our mutual friend Brent Black, I wanted to watch something comforting because I was kind of freaked out. So I asked him to put on the movie version of The Producers because I've seen it so many times. And he started like kind of like shit talking it in like the opening scene, like saying that he didn't think it was good and stuff.
Come on.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm on shrooms, dude. You cannot talk shit about like my favorite musical right now. I am in no mood for that. And he stopped after I told him to stop, so it was fine.
I believe you told this story on the show Dear Friends when you hopped on there for an episode. Thank you for doing that. It's a great story and I love it. And my God, I can only imagine watching this on shrooms. It seems like both a wonderful experience and a terrible one.
Yeah, it was sort of both at different times, but it's like I knew it so well that I knew that no matter what happened, we would eventually get back to something I recognized and found comforting. So I think it was a good pick.
That's incredible. I think Andrew, like unlike most musicals, you actually watched this one before we started this show proper.
Okay.
Well, I've seen the movie version of the musical. I haven't seen the movie, but has anyone here seen the movie?
I have.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's good. Okay.
It's more similar than you might think to the musical version, I feel. Like, I think that what the musical and the adaptation of it did is like try to stick within this very sort of like mid-century style that feels not especially modern. And I think that they kept a lot of the dialogue pretty much verbatim.
Mm-hmm. Where it gets different is like in the latter half at the ending. That's when it kind of goes into musical theater. We have to have a big courtroom scene because that's how all musical theater musicals end.
Which the courtroom scene in this is fantastic. You know?
Yeah.
They do a great job. This is up near the top of courtroom scenes.
But I will say they are kind of different vibes. Where the 60s movie it won an Oscar for best screenplay for one. It was somehow like appreciated by the grand critics and all that, not just like weird like it wasn't like a Blazing Saddles where like audiences enjoyed it, but everyone's like, oh, what crass behavior from Mr. Brooks. But it was really thought as like, oh, this is a very smart show. And if you're gonna turn any of Mel Brooks movies into a musical, this is like the only one that really makes sense, despite like Young Frankenstein also being done. And this was also, I think it opened right before 9/11. Yeah, the few months before 9/11. So I don't want to say that helped its like longevity as something, but if you're returning to the theater and you want a fun time and where you can turn off your brain and forget your troubles, go on, get happy, this is the perfect show for that. And I also think the movie adaptation that was released 4 years after the musical is very, very good as well.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah. When I went to see it in theaters with my mom, we got to the end of it and she turned to me and she was like, do you just want to stay and watch it again? And we like didn't pay again. We just like snuck around and stayed and watched the whole thing again. I mean, it's very faithful. So if you liked the musical, you'll probably like the movie, but I know that a lot of people didn't like the movie.
But let's talk about that for a minute, because like a lot of people yuck the yums of others for enjoying this movie, and I'm kind of getting sick of it, to be honest.
What's wrong with the movie? I don't understand even what would
people
be the
say
criticism.
It's too stagey. Like a lot of jokes don't transfer. It feels like it's presenting to a proscenium without a proscenium. Like, and some people that doesn't work for them. But for me, it feels like a '60s musical. Like it feels like high society. It feels like Singing
that's
in the
almost
Rain.
the point, though. Like the whole thing is making fun of musicals in a way, in like musical culture, and so you'd want it to be portrayed that way. I don't know. If it was more like a movie, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, and a lot of the jokes wouldn't land.
Right. And Mel Brooks loves those old-timey movie musicals, and you can see that in all of his work. And also, they got Susan Stroman as the director of the film, who also directed the musical. And I was noticing in my most recent rewatch, I think that she just like kept almost all of her choreography basically the same, because it's like great choreography. It's like really fun and playful, and it works with the vibe of the show. And yeah, a lot of the things do look like just a stage picture, but like those are beautiful stage pictures, and we did see those kinds of things in older movie musicals.
I will say that some things, like that opening monologue, it's rough, and some choices made for cuts make that opening scene rough. I feel like because we don't have the King of Broadway, which is like the great opening I Want song. We aren't prepared for the big dialogue scene that follows. So I really feel, I get it's a long movie as is, but we kind of need that scene. My problems are the cuts more than like what they gave us.
It should have been longer.
I love The King of Broadway. I miss it every single time. I think that that's like such a great song. And it's funny because like Nathan Lane gets so many great comedy moments throughout the show and so many great singing moments, but like I miss those specific ones for some reason.
And the fact that they brought Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, who nailed it on stage, who had like hundreds of performances to hone this and know exactly what they're doing and know exactly the best way to get laughs. It is like a set in stone version of what they worked so hard to accomplish, and it works so well. Fuck the haters, honestly. That movie's great.
Yeah, I agree that like seeing the original actors in the parts like really makes a big difference, and you can tell exactly like a stand-up comedian or something. They have honed every single joke and every delivery, but it makes me miss the people who they did not bring from the original cast. Like I'm probably a little too harsh on Uma Thurman when I talk about this movie because I just really think she was wrong for this part as much as I like her, and I just really missed like Katie Huffman, who did it originally, or Nicole Kidman, who I think was slated to originally do it in the movie. Like, I just always wanted someone who was like a little bit brassier and could belt.
I mean, I don't think she's terrible, but I would have preferred a Broadway performer in that role.
Yeah, she worked really hard on it. You can tell, like, especially in the dance sequences, like she really gave it her all, I think, but I just don't think she's really right for this character.
I don't even think Nicole Kidman would have been right for the character either.
Who would you want?
I do feel like it is a good role to stunt cast for, to be honest. I just don't think either of them were the right stunt casting choices.
I had a great idea about this today. I was thinking about this today. Tell me what you think about this. Lady Gaga.
Now, yes. 2005.
Now. Yeah. No, in 2005, I would have wanted Rachel McAdams if she could sing, or Scarlett Johansson, I think, would have been better.
Scarlett Johansson can't belt. Like when she does sing, it's
no, but like
she
can't. She can sing, sort of, and I think like with a vocal coach, maybe she'd be able to belt, and like a little bit of auto-tune, maybe. But like, there's even a joke in Ula's big song that she's belting super loud, and she's not in the movie. Like, we need someone who can belt.
Yeah. Andrew, what are your just general thoughts about the movie? Anything where you felt like it kind of faltered stunt casting, like Will Ferrell? Got any big opinions on Will Ferrell being in the movie?
I was gonna mention Will Ferrell might have been the weak link, but honestly, he's fine. I don't think he did that bad. It's a goof role, you know? Like,
yeah.
Does anyone really care about Franz?
But did you watch the Hollywood Bowl version that I gave you? And do you know who played Franz in that one?
I did not recognize.
That was Dane Cook, my friend.
What? I didn't know he played that part.
Yeah, he played that in the Hollywood Bowl production where Jesse Tyler Ferguson was Leo, Richard Kind was Max, and Gary Beach and Roger Bart both came back for their original roles. It was...
So Dane Cook. That was Dane Cook? Really?
Yeah. He didn't do terrible either. Like, that's the kind of role you can give to a fun comedian that's kind of hot at the moment.
Yeah. It's like, just give it to whoever. It really doesn't matter.
I think
when
what was that, Kate?
When I saw The Producers on Broadway in 2001, the person who I saw as Bialystok, I don't know if this was like an understudy situation or what, but I saw Brad Oscar as Bialystok, who was the original Franz. And he did not get that role in the movie, obviously, because they gave it to Will Ferrell, but they did give him a cameo. He's the cab driver.
Yes.
In We Can Do It. But I always was like a little bit sad. Like, I love Will Ferrell. I actually really, really love him and think he's very funny. But I always was a little sad that we lost Brad Oscar because I thought he had such a sweetness that he brought to that Nazi role.
Brad Oscar feels a lot closer to Kenneth Mars' portrayal from the 60s movie. I agree. Or Will Ferrell's like Will Ferrell with a funny accent doing the Will Ferrell face.
Yeah.
Like, you get what you pay for there.
Yeah.
you never really feel like Will Ferrell was really a Nazi, you know?
He doesn't feel hateful enough. You're right.
It's like he doesn't really feel like it feels like maybe he was like brainwashed as a kid, but he never really understood what he was even saying. I don't know.
I was having so many thoughts about the Nazi stuff rewatching it last night. I'm Jewish, and like I think when I first saw it, I was like too young to understand any of that stuff on any real level. But I was thinking last night, like especially in the scene where they go up to Franz's roof and they're alone with him on the rooftop, like wouldn't Bialystok as a Jew like be kind of freaked out to do that? Like there is one moment where he says he thinks that the door is locked and he goes, we're trapped, and that's like a little view of like maybe he's a little bit scared to be here with this Nazi, but like
hold on for that scene that came from an improv that Nathan Lane made on Broadway when the door got jammed.
But it makes so much sense that character would feel that way though. Like, I think it would be weird to not acknowledge it, that as a Jew, you're like in very close to an actual literal Nazi and you have no idea what he's capable of. Like, I always kind of wonder, like, does that character know that they're Jewish and just not care? Or does he not know? I don't know.
I feel like he feels... I think since it was so close to when the Holocaust happened, the opinion of Nazis and their atrocities was a little different. It was more like a political party when Mel Brooks wrote it, and less like the hateful horror group that they are and how they should be represented. So I think when Mel Brooks originally wrote it, it was just too close to the source to really have like the full scope of everything that happened there. And now we kind of do, but the book is what the book is.
Right. That's great. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that historical nuance. You're right. I didn't think about that. I still think that like Will Ferrell does not have the capacity to be as menacing as one would want a Nazi to be, even just for moments here and there, you know?
Well, the things that he talks about are like Winston Churchill, how much he hates Churchill, like specific battles. Like it isn't about like the hate side of it, which is weird because that's what a lot of like Nazi representation in like the 70s
and that's the stuff that they were obsessed with.
Yeah.
That's usually the stuff they actually were obsessed with, not like wearing lederhosen and dancing the Guten Tag Hopklop.
But like it's like Jojo Rabbit. No Nazi is trying to reclaim Jojo Rabbit and like frame it as positive for them. No one's reclaiming Franz Liebken as like no Nazi.
I actually think
people are.
It's a pretty good parody of Nazis in that respect, in that like you really can't claim Springtime for Hitler because it's so like silly. You know, I don't know.
But do you guys know what happened when they brought the producers to Germany? Because Germany has laws against representing swastikas in any form on their streets for obvious reasons. So when they come to Germany, and it's kind of messed up how the promo material for the producers was. Kate, you probably remember this since you saw it on Broadway. Like they put swastikas up all over Broadway and stuff, like 2001 different time. And that was their promo material. And then they can't just take that and drop that into Germany and have them being like, oh, funny joke.
Very bold choice.
Yeah, so that was a big discussion of how to do it. So they said, all right, none of it can be used outside the theater. There should be warnings on the playbills and only during the Springtime for Hitler scene and nothing else. Like that, like I think they got rid of the swastika being posted on the arm during the Siegfried Oath and all that, like little things like that.
Yeah. And I was thinking about the scene where they show up at Roger Debris' house and they have their swastikas on their arms. I was like, I feel like today, if you walked into the home of two gay men with swastikas on your arms, like there's much more of like a link between the queer community and like anti-fascism today. So I feel like maybe those men would not allow you into their home, but like, I don't know.
I mean, the thing about Roger Debris and Carmen Gia, I love them. They are so entertaining. They aren't the brightest duo in the world.
No.
Down to do Springtime for Hitler full of historical goodies.
Aren't they? They're like they're either friends with Max already, or like they look up to him as like
professional
a hero
colleagues. He's a producer. They're a director.
They probably met and hung out at professional stuff before. I don't get the sense that they've like worked together before, because I don't think that Max would like stoop to that. I think that he thinks of this person as being very much beneath him.
Mm-hmm. We know who Roger Debris is based off of, though, right? Ed Wood.
You're nerdier than I am. I don't even know who that is.
Oh, you like Ed Wood, the movie director?
Yeah, the movie director that famously wore Angora sweaters and dressed in drag while directing. Mel Brooks took that and took it to the nth degree and created Roger Debris out of it.
I love the character of Roger so much. I think that Roger and Carmen are like so funny together. And I'm like, as a queer person, I am kind of sensitive to like really stereotypical portrayals of queer people in media. And like, obviously this is like, it's from the 60s. They haven't really updated it. But I just think that in particular, Gary Beach and Roger Bart brought such humanity and humor to those parts. They're just easily my favorite parts of the movie and the musical, I think, are Roger and Carmen things.
I 100% agree with you. And this has been a debate between a lot of people on the internet, between like, is it good queer representation or is it like really degrading queer representation? I think it gives it more power in the musical than it does in the original film, because they excised the LSD character, who's like this hippie that went on for Hitler in the original 60s movie. I forget who played him, but it was a guy from Mad Mad World that's slipping my mind at the moment. But he basically went on and like played the stoner version of Hitler, and that was what was so funny. Where here, like, the queers get to mock Hitler with their own culture a little bit. And show, like, and so it kind of is like the queers beating Hitler at their game, which gives them the power in that scene. He becomes the star.
They also beat Max by saving the show with that performance too.
Yeah, with queer culture beat Hitler.
Yeah, in my notes I wrote down something like, I think the moral of the story is that gays make everything funnier.
Exactly. Like, I imagine, like, he took that script, didn't change a word of it, just his performance and attitude and all of that, like, altered the entire thing. It's replicable every night. He'll nail it.
But, like, can you imagine if Will Ferrell had gone on and he sang, like, Heil Myself? Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. It would not work at all. Gary Beach is just so hilarious in that part.
Well, imagine
I think the Franz version would have tanked. It would have done terribly.
Yeah, it would have taken itself seriously, which is the problem.
Yeah, he would have been. It would have been like he's trying to do a heartfelt moment, Hail Myself, and it's like that would have been horrible. But
which was a brilliant addition to this movie, where it's like I don't understand why Max thought LSD in the original version would have been a good choice for Hitler, because he is wrong in what they were trying to go for. That felt very out of character for Max to pick that character. Where here it's like, of course, hire the Nazi that can also sing and dance to play the big Hitler character. That makes perfect sense for Max in this.
Yeah.
But since he breaks his leg and then he's like, okay, what do we do? We got okay, you go. That is like an accidental fuck up in a way that we didn't have in the previous version.
Mm-hmm. I think it's so much funnier that way, because like it's kind of out of left field. Like, it doesn't really work with the structure of like movies and stories as we typically understand them, I think. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, I thought this guy was just the director and now he's the star. Okay. It's just, it feels surprising, and that's how it's meant to feel, I think.
That's not how it goes in the original like movie.
No, they hire a big old hippie, and then he's like, oh no, to Germany, that's where all my friends are. And he like kind of improvises the entire show, and the audience loves it. And it doesn't work as well. I know people are like, oh, the musical version of the producer is so much worse. No, it really is. It makes a lot of good choices, guys.
Yeah.
I thought the director going out is like one of the best parts of the whole thing. I didn't know that wasn't even originally there.
And the naysayers, like,
good stuff.
Like, let me tell you what happens at the end of the original film. So the show's a success because LSD goes on, improvises. Franz like is immediately distraught and angry and heartbroken at it. And then that night, Franz comes in with a gun. They're like, oh, we'll blow up the theater. Then they try to blow up the theater. They try to destroy the theater, and then they get caught, and that's when we go straight to the court case. Like, both him, Leo, and Franz all go into court.
So they don't do the thing where Leo runs away.
No.
They don't do
that's a musical
any
original.
of that.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Doesn't work.
Yeah, it's so much better now.
But you know what? Who cares what we think? It's time to compare our opinions to those of the New York theater critics when this show first released. It's time for previews!
It's time for previews. It's time for previews.
All right, Bree, who do we have this week?
We have Ben Brantley.
Ben Brantley! Oh boy, everyone's favorite.
There's no way Ben Brantley says negative things about this.
No, he was definitely not negative about this. This was the critics' darling.
And it should be. It was really good.
Yeah.
All right, forgive me. I haven't done one of these in a while, so if I butcher it, I'll fix it in post. Okay.
You'll just re-record it in post.
I've done that.
I know you have.
I have butchered some where I'm just like, I'm gonna fix this. Okay.
I wish I could do that with my performances too.
It's just cut together as like Ben Brantley, so and so. And I was like, okay, I can't. Okay. Ben Brantley, in his review for the New York Times, wrote that, how do you single out highlights in a bonfire? Everybody who sees the producers, and that should be as close to everybody as the St. James Theater allows, is going to be hard pressed to choose one favorite bit from the sublimely ridiculous spectacle that opened last night. It is, to put simply, the real thing. A big Broadway book musical that is so ecstatically drunk on its powers to entertain that it leaves you delirious too. Mr. Brooks, a Brooklyn boy who grew up in the age of Cole Porter and Busby Berkeley, is totally giddily in love with the showbiz mythology he is sending up here.
Hard agree. Hard agree so far. Ben
I agree with
Brantley.
everything. Yeah,
It's so weird
I'm
to
so
agree.
surprised that he said everybody should see it, though. Like, when I review things, which I mostly review sex toys in my line of work, I never say everybody should use this because, like, I don't really think that's, I just don't think that's who humans are.
Ben
Wait,
Brantley
wait.
speaks for us all.
Wait. Kate, if there was a sex toy that you would call the producers of sex toy, what would it be?
Oh my God. I mean, it would be like just a big, goofy, silly colored dildo, like something that just makes you smile when you
Big,
look at it, but
goofy,
also works
silly
pretty
color.
well.
Do you have a link to that?
I can send you one after the fact. I can find this.
Yes, we'll put a link in our little chat box, our podcast show notes, so you all can buy the producers of dildos, as stated by Kate Sloan.
We should just put this at the top of the show. People need this.
Yeah, you need this. How do you find highlights in a bonfire? Well, this dildo's for you. It's gonna
I gotta
start a
work that line
fire.
into one of my toy reviews. That's such a funny line.
Well, click the. Wait, how do you find highlights in a bonfire? Well, click this on and start the fire burning. Let's go. I'm so sorry, Brie. Continue.
Have you thought about a career change, Jesse?
Damn, Jess is good at this.
Maybe I should review sex toys.
I can give you some tips.
I do read your blog
some
quite a
tips.
bit as someone that never buys sex toys. I do read your blog a lot. I'm like,
That's
wow.
a compliment. I'll take it. That's
Wow.
great.
Educated.
Well, there's a lot of interesting things that because I don't live in that world. And it's like sexual bruising. What is this?
Got a lot to learn.
But also, let's talk about the other shows that are playing this season that were nominated for Best Musical. A Class Act, which is kind of a show that doesn't exist. The Full Monty, which is a Terrence McNally show about a bunch of men stripping nude, and you get to see Patrick Wilson's penis at the end. That's the highlight.
Yeah, it's fine.
Jane Eyre, which is fine.
They
And
made
this.
that into a musical? What?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
in that season, this is the bonfire.
I mean, that's a pretty bleak season, to be real with you. I think that the Full Monty was the only real competition there.
Yeah.
And also that it's clearly not going to win. Like, you got to give it to the producers. There's no question.
Mm-hmm. And then the next year, later on, Urinetown and Thoroughly Modern Millennial open up Mamma Mia. Then it gets a lot more fun on Broadway. But that year, everyone wanted to be Les Mis and nobody won.
Bleak.
All right, Brie, continue.
Okay. But in this production, shrill stereotypes are transformed into outsize comic archetypes, recalling the prelapsarian days of ethnic and sexual humor before political correctness.
Yeah,
And that, yeah,
Relapsarian. The good old days.
look at all days.
I
Yeah.
loved when we could be racist. It was so great.
I'm
it
Ben
was so
Bradley,
good.
and we should be racist more.
I don't even
Go on,
think
Brie.
this
It
show...
gets worse. I've read the rest of the
I
sentence.
don't know.
It does get worse. And I hate that I have to say this. Okay. And that the jokes are often so hoary, an African American policeman is, of course, quote, Black Irish,
You really
Only-
like that joke.
There's Black Irish people. It's such a weird joke in 2021. It's like we obviously know that Black Irish people exist, and it's like I don't know. It just
I think the joke was just the like accent he was doing. I don't know.
yeah.
Don't you love it when
know.
accents are jokes? Like, there's a lot of those in this. Like, she's Swedish.
That's a very Mel Brooks thing to do. He just loves to do that. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think it's like a terrible joke, but like Ben Brantley really likes it.
He sure does.
I mean, I would rather that they be making fun of Irish accents and German accents than a whole lot of other accents,
Yeah.
frankly. I think that there's
Yeah.
a lot that this show sidesteps in terms of things that could have been really offensive, like the stuff with the little old ladies and the stuff with Ula as it relates to like the Me Too movement. I think that they actually really sidestepped a lot of the potential issues there. Like there's a lot of women enthusiastically giving consent for things. So I
Yeah.
think that they did a decent job.
And the actual really good documentary about like how they put together the cast recording, the actress playing Ula was like, this is a very small line I gotta walk here because I could be setting women back 50 years by doing this role, or I could be
Yeah.
doing something brand new. So I need to really work on how I'm playing this. And I appreciate that that's the thought that went into it, kind of.
At least somebody thought about it.
Well, Ben
Not Ben
Brantley says it
Brantley.
should have been worse. Like, hey,
Ben Brantley was like, dang, I like these jokes. Nice.
More racism though, but that would be cool.
Well, he
he's on
says,
Twitter and we have more Twitter followers than him. We've won. I don't know why we keep cyberbullying him.
Oh, we've won? We've already won?
We gotta start picking on Jesse Green now. We're in a pandemic and, barely any shows are open. How about I bitch about the fact that they don't have sets anymore? That seems like a good time to do that. All right,
You hate
Nice.
this guy.
the worst part is I'm on a podcast network where these guys are often guests and I just don't give a shit.
They're not coming on our show.
Living
No,
on the
they
edge.
are. Or maybe they will and we can just cyberbully them to their face.
You won.
They wouldn't let us do that.
No, they
We've already won. So.
We already won.
What else?
Seems inevitable that a show that keeps trying to top itself is eventually going to hit the ceiling. And after the Springtime for Hitler musical within the musical sequence, which fulfills one's wildest expectations, the producers can't really get any bigger, though it works hard at attempting it. But there are always the diverting presence of Mr. Lane and Mr. Broadwick, who have the most dynamic stage chemistry since Natasha Richardson met Liam Neeson and Anna Christie.
That's a sad sentence to read now. She died in like a ski accident in like 2006. And yeah, then Liam Neeson just started getting drunk every night and peeing his pants. Like it was, yeah. They had great chemistry though. And Natasha Richardson was. Did you not know about Liam Neeson?
What? Why are they peeing their
I was
pants?
about to say, I'm fighting back the urge to say Liam Neeson. That's too much.
What? I've never heard this. He's peed his pants?
Yeah, there's like so many photos of him going out to pubs and like Bree, go look up Liam
horrible.
Neeson. But he goes to pubs and he would get just so blackout drunk and people would be like, hey, Liam Neeson. And he'd take pictures and he's just obviously pissed his pants.
Oh, that's so sad.
It really is. But you can't not just be like, holy shit, Liam Neeson, you pissed your
Liam.
pants in these photos.
He has a very
Neeson.
specialized set of skills.
You know who definitely pisses themselves though? The wonderful folks over at Letterboxd. It's time for a game of Letterboxd. Guess whether it's a 1-star or 5-star review. All right,
I'm so
Bree.
excited.
Bree, who do you want, Kate or Andrew?
Kate,
All right,
we're
Yes.
on a team.
girls
I'm
versus
very
boys.
excited.
Let's go. Come on, we'll fight
Nice.
you, Andrew.
Ah.
We can do it.
All right, Kate, do you know the rules of this?
I do. I listened to one recent episode of your show, so I know the rules.
Awesome. But for those who are listening
have
for
a
the first
strategy?
time, we're gonna read a review from Letterboxd. It is either a 1-star or 5-star, no in between. And Kate and Andrew have to guess whether it was a 1-star or 5-star just based on the content of the review. All right, Bree, I'll let you take it away.
All right. Okay, so our first review is I ship Leo and Max so hard.
That's a tough one. I ship people in a lot of stuff that I think is just awful. I don't know. I guess 5 stars.
That's a 5-star.
Okay, all right.
We do have a strategy, Andrew, just so you know.
Excellent.
Called winning.
refer to that one from last week. All right, Andrew, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Wow, period. Lots to think about.
Didn't give me much to think about. I don't know.
like the Holocaust and the musical theater industry, and
There was just there was a lot of historical like nuggets,
Historical
in there. Oh boy. I'm gonna give it a 5-star.
That is a 1.
whoa, they did not want to think about whatever this show made
They
them think
didn't
about.
want to think about. Yeah, they didn't want to think about it.
Dang.
All right, Bree.
All right. Broadway for straight men.
For straight men, this show is so gay, though. I do think it's funny that we get a very heterosexual Nathan Lane in this movie, but other than that, it's a pretty gay movie.
I mean, our two leads are painfully heterosexual, though.
They are, but it's like they're in love and they get a love song also. So like,
Yeah.
I know it's not romantic love.
Prisoners of Love.
Yes. Yeah. And there's just like a lot of queer panache in this show. That sounds like a 1-star review to me.
It is.
Yeah.
They get all the easy ones. Just come on.
You want an easy
Work
one?
with me here. Work with me here.
All right. Ooh, wow, 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 wowie, wowie.
What? I literally just asked for an easy one, and you give me that?
That's a direct quote from the film.
Yeah, it's a direct quote from the film. Ooh, wow, 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 wowie.
All right. Yeah, 5.
That is
5
correct.
stars.
It's probably one of the best lines in the movie.
His
great.
delivery is perfect.
They
Yeah.
transcribed it word for word.
Funny. Haha. Swedish girl can't speak English and we evade taxes.
True.
All of that is true. Yeah. What is Mel Brooks's obsession with Swedish girls, by the way? Like, has someone done an expose on his past vis-a-vis Swedish girls? I'm very curious.
Wasn't he married to Anne Bancroft or something? Was she Swedish?
I don't think her coloring is like, she's like a brunette. She's like totally different vibes than this like bubbly blonde Swedish girl. That seems like a 1-star review.
Yes, it is.
Correct.
Okay. That
All
person
right.
did not
Almost.
understand what the producers was trying to do.
It did actually feel like an attempt at criticism, though, which you don't
Yeah.
usually see here.
Yeah.
I love this review so much because I agree with it. Richard Kind really elevates the courtroom scene. He has one line.
It's true.
I mean, it's the whole thing. It's all positive. So 5 stars.
That's the one.
The only
have-
thing they liked about it was Richard Kind.
They have one thing to say about the whole show, and it's like a mildly positive comment, and they give it 1 star.
I mean, if your favorite thing about the movie was a cameo that's in one scene, probably
one
you
line.
didn't like it. Yeah.
But they made it all the way to the end of the thing.
That's fair.
Right. I don't know.
All right, Bree. I see your review and I like this review a lot.
Screw the Myers-Briggs personality test. Are you a singing Hitler or a dancing Hitler?
Oh my God. Okay, can we go around? What do you think? Tag yourself. Singing Hitler, dancing Hitler.
I'm
What
a
do we
singing
think?
Hitler.
I want to be both. I really want to be both.
You want to be a triple threat Hitler.
You know, like the man
Like,
himself,
more,
I want to be a
more
triple
threats
threat.
if you're also a Hitler.
I'm definitely a singing Hitler. I can't dance for shit, and also the singing Hitlers are so funny.
But what do you think they reviewed it as?
Oh, right. Sorry. I I forgot that this wasn't the central point of this episode to discuss whether we're singing Hitlers or dancing Hitlers. I think that is a 1-star review.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are 4 for 4.
Oh,
Too
shit.
good at
Okay.
this.
Kate is
I've been
like,
reading Letterboxd too much.
all right, Andrew, you ready?
No, I'm not. Honestly,
Oh, I could be mean or... I was too high
lay it
to
on.
finish, but high is censored with the little star in front of, instead of an I, which is
Did
Kate's
they think
story.
they were
Is
getting a
that yours?
band?
is it hard to? hard to follow this? I feel like this is a really easy to follow. I guess if you're very high, I don't know.
I mean, you have to understand a little bit about what they're saying about how the musical theater industry works as far as backers and putting on a show and stuff, but like it's pretty minimal. Like you don't really need to get it to watch
Oh
it.
shit, man! Look at all them old ladies. Is he gonna fuck them? Oh!
I feel like you don't even have to follow it. You just have to understand that he's going to have sex with all those old ladies. That's really all
Okay,
you...
it is kind of a weird opening scene to just see Nathan Lane porking an old lady.
I don't know. I think it's pretty funny.
Oh, jeez. Can you read it one more time? I think I missed it.
I was too high to finish.
That's it. Oh, it's too high to finish. Okay.
Story of my life.
Hey,
Sounds like a good
that's the sex blog thing.
Yeah, it sounds like a good experience. So I'm gonna say 5 stars.
That's a 1-star, Andrew.
I can't get these. I can't get them.
Why were they rating a movie they couldn't even finish? That's not fair. Watch it again when you're sober. Rude.
All right. A, they made the play from Curb Your Enthusiasm real.
Does anyone know the play that they're referring to? I'm not a
Literally,
Curb
Larry David
person.
performed in a performance of the producers with David Schwimmer as Leo in
I see.
an episode of Curb Your.
David Schwimmer as Leo. I could see it, actually.
Like Larry David as Max. Come on, I'd actually pay money to go see that one.
Yeah, I could see it. I was thinking today I would really love to see a Norbert Leo Butz as Max someday. I don't know if that'll ever happen.
I'd like to
That
see him
sounds like
as not Franz, Roger Debris. He'd be great in that. Cast against type
Oh,
a little bit.
interesting. I don't think Norbert's gay enough. I've never seen Norbert play anything gay enough to make me think he could handle that.
He was the MC in Cabaret. He's gay enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we need someone who's like super super gay in that part. Wait, who did I write down as like who I think should do it? Adam Lambert. That's who I wrote down.
Hail myself, hail to me.
He's like almost old enough. Like I think a lot of people forget that Adam Lambert is like aging along with the rest of us.
Yeah, he's like the youngest person in Queen. If you put him next to the people in Queen, like he looks like a baby.
Right. And he was in Ratatouille the musical, so we know that he's open to silly, funny musicals. Yeah. He's my favorite part of that musical, by the way.
I don't blame you.
I don't know. Okay, can you read me the review one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah. A, they made that play from Curb Your Enthusiasm real.
That seems like a 1-star review. This person didn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew, you ready?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
How the fuck do Matthew Broderick's eyes do that?
I've been honestly wondering that myself for a long time. It's like the deer in headlights thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
My God.
If I wrote that, it would be a 1-star. So what?
Is that a 1-star guess?
Yeah, well, we'll go with that.
That was 5.
Of course it
Yeah.
was.
That's a thirsty review. That's a person who's like into it.
I want Matthew Broderick to take me to Pound Town, and I don't mean hitting me with a car. If you get that joke, you get that joke. All right.
So I was talking about that with my spouse last night when we were watching it again, and just randomly I said, "Do you think Nathan Lane has ever killed somebody?" And my spouse just like laughed a lot and was like, "No."
Maybe I should give context. Matthew Broderick accidentally killed people with his car when he was like in his 20s, so he's responsible.
And he
for
didn't.
that.
He did it. There was like some kind of meeting that was supposed to happen for reconciliation with like the family of the victims, and he just like didn't show up. And then
Nice.
apparently he did like a car commercial pretty soon after that, which was kind of a yikes move.
What? I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's probably how his eyes do that.
He's seen people die. That's just all he sees when he closes his eyes, so he tries not to.
He's more than a triple threat, because when you think about him, like he could also kill you. That's also the threat.
All right, one more
I like
question
that he didn't
each, and
show
then
up.
we're done.
He didn't show up. That's really classic.
All right, these are our last questions. Kate, last question. Andrew, last question.
All right.
Love to see those Germans living their dreams.
Oh God, that's really hard. I don't want to tarnish my perfect record on this game. I think that's a 5-star review.
You want to think different.
Oh no.
You can't change it.
She didn't want to tarnish her perfect score.
I was really debating it. I was like leaning toward 1 star because so many people on Letterboxd are like so jaded and ironic constantly. But I was like, why? I don't know. I feel like if you think that they're living their best lives and that's all that you thought about the movie, I don't think you would give it 1 star. That's like not strong enough sentiment. All right.
Okay, you only missed one, but that's okay. I really love that you get in the heads of the reviewers. Like, you're
serious
really
about
there.
this game. Yeah, I want to understand where they're coming from because if they don't like this movie, I have to personally fight them. So
Okay, Andrew, your last question for 500 points, therefore wiping Kate's entire score out of the water.
There's no way I'm getting it then.
The review is top 3 Broderick movies easily.
Like, do I have to list them?
Nope.
Inspector Gadget.
Ferris Bueller and the producers.
obviously Ferris Bueller. Yeah.
Inspector Gadget.
I can't remember any. I actually don't know any movies.
The Music Man.
Yeah, that's a classic. I mean, that sounds positive. 5 stars.
Oh, Kate, you win this. That was a 1-star review. Fair and
This
square.
person's not like Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't read these people. I don't have any understanding of their thought process.
There's so many layers of irony going on Letterboxd so much of the time.
And
I'm
you know
only
what,
like
Kate?
2
That makes
layers
you
of
the
irony,
winner
so.
of Letterboxd Review!
Woo!
Wonderful, wonderful job. Honestly, I know you won that perfect score, but that was an incredible streak. Really, really, you should be proud of yourself because that game is not easy.
Thank you.
Either proud or worried.
Yeah, both in equal measure.
How about we talk about other things that make us proud and worried and go into a mid-show announcement? Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a shill at you! Andrew, tell us a little bit about Patreon and what's going on over there.
Oh man, Patreon's where you can go to give us money, because we like money, and you like to give us money. Also, you get extra content. You can see like a video version of this episode right now. You can listen to our extra podcast that we have over there, and commentary tracks that we do every once in a while, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and you also get our monthly Patreon meetups, and maybe Kate will join us for the next one if they have the free time.
Wow.
That would be a lot of fun.
Putting them on the spot.
If I can go, that seems fun. Talking with musical theater nerds, sure.
It'll be a blast.
That's all it is.
But also another thing about Patreon is if you pay us enough money, you can write a paragraph that we have to say on the podcast once a week. But since we have a trained sex blog writer, we're going to make her read it.
Okay.
So this is written by Joseph Evans Green, who wrote this and makes us say this every week as long as he's at the top tier patron. So here it is, Kate. Read it for us. Try perform it.
Okay, I just gotta take a look. Gotta figure out my motivation here. All right. There's a Starman. He plays in blue and white. His name's Yuri Tielemans, and he's dynamite. Wilfred and Dee Dee, he'll take the ball off you. And finally, Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy.
I liked your
I think it's a
interpretation of that
sports thing.
character.
I'm gonna figure out where this is from, and I'm not gonna Google it either.
He told us in our Discord that it's from like some football thing. I don't get it. Like European football, not like American. Let's get CTE.
What does blue and white refer to? Is that like a British team? I don't know.
But our current patrons are Melissa Goldman, Terry Needleman, John Donna, Leighton Ackles, Danielle Rennick, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Tess Gear, Monica Thoreau, Brent Black, Mina Maniri, Nathaniel Stacey Combe, Joseph Evans Green, Carrie Ahern, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Kyle Summers, Janae C., Scoot in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Liz Lim, Alison Stoller, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, Thesbian, Ren Cullen, Rafael Martinez Salaz, Robert Benjamin, Jessica T., Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Katie McDonough, Timothy Keys, Chris Marcotte, Tamimu Robinson, Kiji Marie Anastasio, Layla, RJ Norija, Sebastian Canino, Avon Regan, Charlie B., Patrick Deering, Joe, Avery Brinson, Marilyn Brown, Mel Cormack, LaFemme Fictionale, Bjorn Herman, August Gorman, Mac the Knife, Erica S., Toriana Vestal, Sammy the Most Lopez, Liana Morton, Angela, and while we were recording this, we got another patron, and I want to make sure we say their name, and Kaylee Blazier. They all help us support us over at Musicals with Cheese on Patreon, so if you'd like to join them and see Kate's incredible tattoos and wonderful face and blue headphones and everything else she's got going on. Oh my god, is that a unicorn walking behind you? Wow, where'd you get that? Well, you'll never know unless
she's just chilling.
You won't get to see it unless you're on the Patreon video, so come join us over at Patreon. All right, let's get back to the show.
I used to be the king of old Broadway. The best of everything was mine to have each day. I always had the biggest hits, the biggest bathrooms at the Ritz. My showgirls had the biggest hits. I never was the pits in any way.
We believe you, thousands wouldn't. We believe you, every word. We believe you, thousands couldn't. We believe each word we've heard.
So The King of All Broadway is a great opening number, like a great I Want song. Everything is perfect about this song. And then they cut it from the movie.
Yeah,
Well,
it's so
it wasn't
sad.
really necessary. I mean, it's just main character motivation, so who cares?
Who needs that?
I mean, I do think that like all the songs that they left in are linked to specific plot moments, and that The King of Broadway probably made the most sense to cut. Like, I get why they did it, but I just miss it so much.
Mm-hmm. But I think that structurally it kind of ruins the flow because the opening night song doesn't really feel like a song, and then we kind of feel jump scared by We Can Do It when it comes because there's so much time in between. So I think it kind of was important to have like another song to set up. This is what our show movie thing is, and maybe trim down the "you're gonna jump on me" a little bit more.
Yeah, that scene is just pretty much word for word from the original movie. It is so funny. Like, I'm wet, I'm hysterical, and I'm wet still makes me laugh every time. But it is a little bit like, did we really need to do this again? You did it in the first version.
Yeah, and it just, we're so trapped in Max's office, and it works on stage a little more. Like, that's the one scene where if people can get past that, they will be in for a really good movie. Like, that's the one scene where I kind of understand the critiques of the movie. On stage, it just is fantastic. But King of All Broadway, there's also the justification that he says fuck in it, and that got them the R rating, so they just fucking cut the entire scene.
You couldn't just change the lyric a little bit? Like,
I think not only one line, and it was an improvisation by Nathan Lane in the first place, so like that seems like it would have been easy to cut.
I think they filmed it because it was an improvisation from the stage show that they did with a lot of improvisations that they thought really worked. They brought into the film, but they shot it thinking, oh, we get one fuck because that's how movies work. But then they were like, when they're screening it for the MPAA, they're like, yeah, you can use one fuck, but it can't be in a sexual context. And he says, who do you gotta fuck? So,
right.
And they're like, I guess just cut the entire song at this point.
that can't really be the reason.
I'm sure there's a lot of justifications, but that was a big one. I remember Susan Stroman mentioning that in the commentary. They had a lot of problems with Universal with that film. They originally had over the Universal intro where it's like, da, 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 da. Mel Brooks wrote lyrics to the Universal music like, this is the movie now. No more commercials. Here is the movie now. And they wouldn't let him use it.
They're no fun over there. Just no fun.
Yeah. I'm sure they've done other horrible atrocities like all movie studios have, but you know what? You should have let Mel Brooks have his little day in the sun.
You should have let Mel Gibson do what now?
Those are two totally different Mels. One of them is a Jew who's against Nazis, and one of them is like maybe kind of a Nazi.
I'd say more than
basically
kind of.
a Nazi.
Yeah.
We Can Do It, like, also works as a very good I Want song. Like, we have 3 I Want songs right at the top of this musical, which is different. Like, this is a very different structure.
Well, it's different characters. Well, it's one character, then both characters, then the other character, but,
Yeah.
you know.
Like, We Can Do It is fun, but it feels like a little bit more cuttable.
Really? Oh God, I would never cut We Can Do It. I love that song.
I love this
think
song,
that it
too.
sets up their relationship. It sets up their dynamic like really early on, that Bloom is someone who needs to be convinced and controlled into things, and that Bialystok has the ability to do that. Like, I think it really establishes their friendship beautifully.
Yeah, I actually, now that you say that, I agree. I think it actually sets up the dynamic better than the opening dialogue scene.
Yeah.
With the Niagara Falls and all that stuff. I feel like if we just go to, like, he comes in a little bit of thing and then, oh, you can make more money than with a hit, and then we go into We Can Do It, we get the characters just from We Can Do It. You're right. You are absolutely right now that I think about it. Yeah, like, I feel like I'm just trying to fix the pacing issues in what is a movie, but where it's perfect in the stage show. Don't touch the stage show.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like, it's a stage show. Like, I just don't think that it was meant to be made into a movie. And I know that, like, Mel Brooks partly thought of it as just like a process of documenting this thing that he had made in a film form, which, like, probably softened the blow when the movie lost a whole bunch of money. But yeah, like, I don't think you can cut a lot of it because just the way it's paced, like, it's meant to be a stage show. You have to just kind of deal with that if you're going to watch it.
I'm pretty sure this the movie opened against, like, Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Maybe he wanted it to flop.
I mean, I'd
Is he
rather
in
watch
Rio
the
right
producers
now?
than King Kong, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Oh no, it got its ass kicked by the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
I can't compete with that. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, and of
Classic.
course the classic film Fun with Dick and Jane. Really, like, those two up against each other.
Oh, yeah. That one, very good. Very, very good.
You know, Jim Carrey in an Enron comedy, everyone's favorite.
Wow.
Man, the song is just so, like, the songs are just so solid that you can't really talk about one in a vacuum. Like, is there any big specific ones? Like, I mean, we kind of have to talk about Keep It Gay, don't we?
No matter what you do on the stage, keep it light, keep it bright, keep it gay. Whether it's murder, mayhem, or rage, don't complain, it's a pain, keep it gay.
People want laughter when they see a show. The last thing they're after's a litany of woe.
A happy ending will pep up your play. Oedipus won't bomb.
If he winds up with mom,
Keep it gay,
keep it gay.
keep it gay.
Yeah, I think
It's a pretty
Keep It
good one.
Gay is probably my favorite number to see on stage or in the movie. It's so much fun. I love his production team. I love that they live with him. I love that the lyrics are so witty. Like, it reminds me of Sondheim's thing about, like, how form should follow content, in terms of, like, these are really witty queer people. Like, we got to write witty rhymes for them. And it's just, like, full of that. And I love that they have always, like, cast it with people who actually managed to pull off these absurd lyrics.
What do you think is your favorite lyric in this? Because there's so many, and I'm, like, running through my head, and, like, 5 are popping up.
Of Keep It Gay or of the whole show?
No, just of Keep It Gay, because, like, Keep It Gay alone, like, the first one that pops in my head is Oedipus won't bomb if he winds up with the mom. Keep It Gay.
That is a really, really good one. Yeah. If I was going to actually answer this question, I would need to actually think about it for a second.
I'm sorry. What about you, Andrew? Can you think of anyone?
Oh, I'm not good with lyrics. You know that.
Like, I
I do think that the moment in the movie where Carmen Gia says he's having a stroke of genius, like, it's not a lyric, but it makes me laugh so much, especially because, like, on the original cast recording, he does not, like, he plays it pretty flat comparatively. Like, he just says a stroke of genius. And the way that the different choice that he makes in the movie is just absolutely hilarious to me.
The movie is so much better because he says it very calmly. He's like, "Oh, he's having a stroke of what? A genius!" the two
I love
different
dopey
deliveries.
showgirls in gooey gowns. I mean,
Yes.
again, that's not lyrics. It's in the book, but, like, that's just such a great phrase.
And the little breaks in between that break up that scene, like when he goes up, he's like, "All right, we're losing him. You talk to him, Leo. He likes you." And he's like, "Oh, that's all you? If I could put you in a bottle and throw you under my armpits, I'd wear you every day."
You mean that smell is you? Yeah, I love that interaction. It's so silly.
And the way that Gary Beach plays it, because I've watched a whole bunch of performances of Keep It Gay, a lot of them rely a lot on the sexual side of Roger Debris. And Gary Beach does not play Roger Debris very sexual. He plays it very, like, older, very strangely wise, and doesn't quite know how he's coming off and just proud of who he is, which works so much better than if he's, like, actively flirting with everyone, which makes it a lot more nuanced than, like, how a lot of gay characters were portrayed in the early aughts.
Yeah, I think that it lacks a lot of the common anxiety of like, oh, the worst thing about being in the room with a gay person is like they could hit on you and that would be uncomfortable. It's like, that's just kind of boring and annoying. Because most gay people are not going to hit on you if they know that you're straight. Like, why would they? And yeah, I agree with you about Gary Beach's approach to that character. I think he's like so playful and like flirty, but like not in a sexual way, really, and it's fun.
Yeah, it gets rid of like the straight man malicious view of homosexuality, which was very, very common. Look at any raunchy comedy released in those days,
or don't.
Yeah, don't look at those. No, you can live the rest of your life without watching Van Wilder again, I promise.
Oh, geez, I don't know if I can make it the week.
That's how I end every afternoon on Tuesday. I gotta come home, watch all 3 Van Wilder's movies in order. So the Act 1 ends with Along Came Bialy, which is like this massive, massive number where you've got like hundreds of old women. And it is spectacular to see on stage. Absolutely incredible to watch. The movie, it's still really funny. It still really lands. Not quite as like, oh, look at how many of them.
They were helpless, they were hopeless, then along came Bialy. They were joyless, they were boyless, then along came Bialy. They're my angels, I'm their devil, and I keep those embers aglow. When I woos 'em, I can't lose 'em, 'cause I cast my spell and they start yelling, fire down below! They were listing, they were sinking, then along came Bialy. They were desperate, they were drinking, then along came Bialy. So romantic, they were frantic, then their prayers were heard up above. Heaven sent them, their Bialy. I'm the celebration of love.
Not as impressive.
And somehow they get the numbers higher in the movie, and it still feels a little less impressive than it is when you got them all on stage.
I think part of it for me is like it's weird to see people who are not old women playing old women. Like they're all clearly pretty young because it's a Hollywood movie and also because they have to be dancing. But it's like we're seeing them so closely in a movie. Like I feel like they should be old ladies, and I feel like it's certainly not impossible to find older ladies who can dance and sing. Like I don't know, it just felt a little strange to me to do that.
Yeah, I agree. In a stage show, it makes sense because you only have so many casts, and it's a bunch of people just doubling and changing an ensemble playing.
Yeah, and you're doing 8 shows a week. Like, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah, that makes sense. But in the movie, they should have used more old women. I think they did for like the like hold me, touch me ones. But like the masses, nah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Andrew?
I think it works very well on stage, and I like that they all have the same costume in the one that I saw. I thought that was very funny. They're just all the same old woman.
They all shop at the same store.
It's like the nursing home uniform.
Yeah, it's not just a bunch of old women. It's all the same old woman, and I thought it was very funny.
Well, I guess the big one we have to talk about before we wrap this on up is Springtime for Hitler. The iconic one from the stage show, or from the original film, brought to the stage show, still sells every night. It's still a very, very funny gag.
Springtime for Hitler and Germany. Rhineland's our fine land once more. Springtime for Hitler and Germany. Watch out, Europe,
born in Dusseldorf, and that is why they call me Rolf.
Don't be stupid, be a smarty. Come and join the Nazi party.
I want to play lead tenor stormtrooper. That's my dream role.
It's a great role.
You know what I want? I want to play the guy that gets dubbed by Mel Brooks every night that says, "Don't be stupid, be a smarty, come and join the Nazi party."
Yeah. I was
you don't
so
have to do
excited
anything.
to see like whether he would do that still in the movie, because I knew he did it in the musical, and I was so glad that he did it. I like Rolf. I think I want to be Rolf.
I was born in Dusseldorf, and that is why they call me Rolf.
Yep. One line. That's all I need.
I do want to take a moment to talk about how Mel Brooks writes songs. I have not heard, because he is credited and won Tonys for both music and lyrics for this show. And do you guys know how he does it?
I do, yeah. It's very interesting.
He basically hums the song to his arranger, so he'll be like, that face, that wonderful face, da-da, ba-da-da-da. And then the arrangers are like, all right, and that would turn into sheet music like this. And then the arrangers would turn it into an actual song. He doesn't do any piano tracks, he just kind of hums the tune.
Yeah, I find that fascinating. I'm a songwriter also, and I think that part of the ability to do that comes from him just like having listened to so many golden age musicals. Like once you have listened to a certain genre of music so much that it's like in your brain on like a subconscious level, then it becomes easier to like create things or write things in that genre, and he clearly has that talent. But also like I'm glad that he says in the making of DVD and elsewhere that like Glenn Kelly, his musical arranger, was like a huge part of the process of the show, because really like literally it could not have existed without Glenn Kelly. And Glenn like, you know, created the perfect orchestrations that were both like era appropriate for the kind of thing Mel was trying to do, and also like made sense with the songs he was inventing, and it just would not have been possible. And honestly, I think that he should have been co-credited as composer.
That's a big belief I have, like, because I don't think just humming a song is enough to write a song. I can hum a tune.
He only wrote the melody, really.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Well, the lyrics also, I think.
Yeah, he did the lyrics.
They probably just made that decision because it would, you know, bring more people into the theater, to see music and lyrics by Mel Brooks. But I think that Glenn Kelly, like, really did a lot of work on this.
Glenn Kelly and Patrick Brady, who arranged the vocals, because Glenn Kelly is basically just with all the instruments. And so it was a team of 3 by the end of it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's my big thing. It's like, I don't know if we should really say this was music and lyrics by Mel Brooks. I wouldn't claim that if I was it.
But I mean, he did do the lyrics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they are great lyrics.
Oh yeah, some of the best, like Sant Hippie, and like every lyric is very funny. But he's always been that way. Even like in other films, like the Spanish Inquisition song is incredible. On that note, we've reached the end of the show. So, what is everyone's overall thoughts and cheese rating? Are you aware of our cheese ratings, Kate?
I am. Yes.
All right. Why don't you go first then?
When I think of food and the producers, I think of lunch at Sardi's every day. Sardi's is a very fancy place. I feel like they would have Parmigiano Reggiano. That's the fancy cheese that I would rate the producers with. I really love this musical. I love this movie. I think that both of them have such joy in them. I think they're mostly well cast, except for a couple of weird choices. And I just always feel happy whenever I hear the songs from this show. Like, it's just a dopamine button for me. I can't not love it.
Do not blame me whatsoever. It's a great show. That's a great justification. What about you, Andrew?
This is extremely funny and very well written, including music. So yeah, go watch the movie version, or if you can, watch the stage version. I mean, why not? It's excellent. I really like this one. Cheese. Here's one. I'm gonna give it a Brunost, which is a sweet Scandinavian cheese.
Ooh, wow, 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 wee, wow, wow.
We don't talk about Brunost here.
He had to do it. He had to do it.
I had to.
It was right there. It was right
Someone had to do it, or else someone would say it in the comments. Or Juliet
They
would
would have done it in the. You can let them do it in the comments.
No, I have to go for the easy targets answer. Just look at the episode we put out.
All right, fair enough.
All right, Bree, what do you think of our discussion and your cheese rating of that?
Oh my God, what an incredible discussion. It's, it sounds like The Producers is very well liked and very funny. And I haven't seen it, but I would like to. And just like I want to try watching The Producers, I want to try truffle and salt cheddar.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
Doesn't it? That's really good.
Incredible. So my cheese rating, I love The Producers. I love the movie. Both of them, anytime I hear the cast album, I get like so happy. Anytime I watch the movie, I enjoy it beginning to end. It translates very well to film, except for like the opening is a little bit of a slog, but after that point you're on for a wild ride and it's great from beginning to end, and the dancing, fantastic. I can only give this raclette cheese from Dusseldorf. I was born in Dusseldorf, and that is why they call me Rolf.
All right, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Kate, you are so wonderful. Thank you for coming on the show. I hope to have you on again. But until that time
I would
comes,
love to.
please promote your wonderful content for the world to find.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This was so fun. I write a blog about sex, relationships, fashion, beauty, various other things at girlyjuice.net. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at girly_juice, where I do occasionally share hot takes about musical theater. I co-host 2 podcasts. One of them is The Dildorks, which is dorky discourse on sex, dating, and masturbating. The other one is Question Box, which is the game show podcast of shockingly personal questions, which the Musicals with Cheese Boys have been on, and that was a great episode. And I have a book about kink and BDSM, if you are interested in that. It's called 101 Kinky Things Even You Can Do.
Yes, and also you're a songwriter. I'm on your website right now, and I think I'm gonna... Do you mind if I read some of your lyrics out? Because I love them.
Oh, sure. I've been writing songs since I was in high school, so some of these might be a little cringe. I don't know.
This
what
is
you're gonna read.
pretty cringe, I think,
Pick the
but
cringe
I
ones.
find it adorable. I'm just going to read it. And NSFW, in case you have this playing for some reason in your work office. I think I'm bored in bed, or maybe I'm much too much in my head. I'm loving your kissing, but there's something missing. I can't put my finger on it. Oh yeah, touch my clit. I don't know if that's the intonation you want me to have with that.
Yeah, my favorite part of that song is the bridge where I say, just so you understand your callousness, the clit and the dick are analogous. Would you like having your dick ignored every time you scored? Wouldn't you get bored? I was just feeling a little bit Sondheim-y internal rhymes.
Wow.
Honestly, you have a wonderful blog. Even me,
Claps. Come on.
it's not even me that
Snaps over here.
I've just never bought a sex toy. I love reading all your reviews. I find them fascinating.
Thank you.
And I feel like
That makes me happy.
anyone out there that has interest, or like I've had people like ask me questions and I'm like, I know exactly where to send you. Like I have dear friends where they ask a lot of like sexual questions, and I tend to refer to your blog a lot and say, hey, if you got more, this is a great blog about these kind of things. Yeah, I do refer you to a lot of people, Kate. I am a genuine fan and appreciator for what you do, and I think it's healthy to have conversations about that. So thank you for that. And thank you for doing Question Box
Thank
and
you so
inviting
much.
us onto that. That was a lot of fun. You know who definitely
It was so fun.
needs the producers of dildos, of a bonfire with no highlights. It's our wonderful patrons. Thank you guys for listening. Please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher at Musicals with Cheese. We're on
understand
Twitter
what you were
at
going
Cheesy
for there.
Musicals. We're on Patreon Musicals with Cheese, Instagram Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. We have a Patreon-only podcast called Patreon with Cheese. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our title card was created by the amazing Jolene Casco. Go follow them on Instagram at Jolene Casco. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. Go follow them at Juliet Antonio. This show is produced by the wonderful, the incredible, she disappeared on our screen, but we love you, Brianna Jones!
Woo, Bree!
We love you, Brie. Our show's theme songs were created by Robin Nash of IOU Music UK. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off by recommending the producers of dildos 4 times in this. I really am hoping you're going to give us a link that we can put out there and call it the producer of dildos.
I can do that.
And then we'll
Yeah.
put a little sticker on it. The producers of dildos, Kate Sloan. All right, you guys. Anything else we have left to say before we wrap this up?
This crazy crowd is crackers.
All right, we'll see you next time on Musicals with Cheese. I wanna be a producer with a hit show on Broadway. I wanna be a producer, lunch at Sardi's every day.